皆さん、こんにちは。日本の皆様、おはようございます。本日は JETRO、米国セントルイス、成長するバイオエコシステムとジオテックコミュニティウェビナーにお越しいただきましてありがとうございます。本日、司会を務めます、JETROシカゴ事務所、橋本と申します。よろしくお願いいたします。ウェビナー実施にあたりまして、簡単にいくつかご説明をいたします。まず本日、質疑応答10分取っておりますけれども、ぜひ質問はコントロールパネルの Q&A セクションからご入力をお願いいたします。英語での入力でも日本語でのご入力でも問題ございません。本日、同時通訳をご用意しております。コントロールパネル内、地球儀のマークから日本語を選択ください。本日の講演は録画し、終了後、皆様にリンクをお送りいたします。また、各投影資料もお送りします。終了後、アンケートが表示されますので、ぜひご協力のほどお願いいたします。改めまして、本日、米国セントルイスをテーマとしてお送りをします。まさに現場で産業育成などをされている関係機関の皆様よりお話を伺います。主に4機関の皆様にご講演をいただきます。下にロゴを出しております。まず、右上はミズーリパートナーシップとありますけれども、これは州政府の外郭団体、経済開発公社でして、外資の誘致を専門とする機関で、例えば製造業をその誘致するためのインセンティブ交渉の窓口などもされています。セントルイスのエリアに特化した広域セントルイスが左上、グレーターセントルイスインクです。半官半民非営利の団体で、現地の経済開発、土地開発から産業の育成を担っています。右下、左下が産業に特化した産業促進機関です。グローバルセントルイスからバイオのご担当者、GeoFutures としてジオテックコミュニティを今形成をしているご担当の方に来ていただいております。ウェビナー実施にあたりまして、セントルイスと位置の確認をしたく、この地図を持ってまいりました。アメリカの中西部のさらにこの中央に位置するようなミズーリ州、こちら全体を見ています。左側はよくファームベルトと言われる農業州です。ただ農業州の中には産業に特化した集積、産業集積が見られますので、まさに本日はこの産業に特化したウェビナーをお送りしたいと思っております。一つの特徴が、このイリノイ州とミズーリ州に渡った広域の経済圏です。ですので、先ほどご説明したセントルイスの広域経済開発公社は、このミズーリ州の郡とイリノイ州の地域郡、ここのなんでしょう、州をまたいだ形で経済開発を行っている。これもアメリカでもよく見られる特徴の一つです。その産業の育成と同時に土地開発も行うことで、効率的な企業誘致と、そのインセンティブの提供、産業の育成を行っています。それでは、私からは以上です。本日ウェビナーに先立ちまして、主催者挨拶として、JETROシカゴ事務所長の根本よりご挨拶をさせていただきます。よろしくお願いします。
はい、今ご紹介いただきましたJETROシカゴ事務所の根本です。本日は100名もの、ご登録、ご視聴いただきましてありがとうございます。本日、ミズーリ州セントルイスに焦点を当てたウェビナーですが、本年1月に後ほどご挨拶いただきます田島総領事と一緒に私もこのセントルイスにお邪魔して、本日のテーマであるバイオおよびジオテック分野の産業連携促進の責任者にお会いしてまいりました。で、実際に施設も訪問して、非常に有益だったということから、本日このようなウェビナーを企画して、日本の皆様にもこういった素晴らしいパートナー、産業の起こり的なところをぜひ、学んでいただこうと、認識いただこうということで、本日のウェビナーを企画したところであります。皆さんご承知のようにアメリカでは産官学の連携が非常に活発に行われております。それは州政府という単位だけではなく、都市レベルでも積極的に活発に行われておりまして、しかもそのプレイヤーがその地域のプレイヤーのみならず、外からのプレイヤーを積極的に受け入れるっていう姿勢がアメリカでは強く感じられていると私自身思っております。その意味では本日の、ミズーリ州セントルイスの皆様も日本の企業の皆様との協業に対して非常に 積極的で熱いアプローチをいただいております。ぜひ本日のウェビナーを皆様ご覧になっていただいて、このミズーリ州のセントルイスのところで何かしらこのバイオおよびジオテックの分野で何かしらできるのではないかというように、皆様ご関心を持たれましたなら、ぜひ我々シカゴ事務所までコンタクトいただければ、我々喜んでセントルイスの皆様とおつなぎして、必要に応じては一緒に出張して、いろいろな視察、ミーティングの開催なども行っていきたいと思っております。それでは本日のウェビナー、ぜひ楽しんでいただければと思います。ありがとうございます。
根本所長、ありがとうございました。本日、シカゴ総領事館より田島総領事にお越しをいただいております。田島総領事、ご挨拶お願いいたします。
はい、ありがとうございます。在シカゴ日本国総領事の、田島でございます。本日はJETROシカゴ事務所主催のセントルイスウェビナーにご参加いただきまして、誠にありがとうございます。先ほど根本所長からお話ありましたけれども、本日は日本およびアメリカより100名もの多くの方にご参加いただいているというふうに伺っております。オンラインの機会を生かして多くの方に目にかかれて大変嬉しく思います。また今回のウェビナーを企画運営してくださっているミズーリ州政府、ミズーリパートナーシップ、セントルイス地域経済開発公社、そして主催者であるJETROシカゴ事務所の皆様に感謝申し上げます。本日は創薬バイオデジタルヘルス、農業バイオ技術、ジオテックコミュニティについて地域の現状や日本企業へのビジネスチャンス、サポート体制などの解説等、非常に充実したプログラムとなっているというふうに承知しております。ご参加いただきました皆様にとって実りの良い時間となりますことを期待しております。少々大きな話になりますけれども、今年の1月、ワシントン DC で行われた日本の岸田総理大臣とアメリカのバイデン大統領との間の日米首脳会談、これに象徴されますように、現在、かつてないほど日米関係は強固で緊密であります。また来週19日から21日までは、日本が議長国を務めます G7 広島サミットが行われ、また、そしてその翌週には、中西部デトロイトでアメリカが議長を務める APEC の貿易関連閣僚会合が行われます。また、地域レベルでは、今年の9月には日本、米国中西部会合同会議が東京で開催される予定です。今年控えているさまざまなイベントを機会に、日本、中西部双方の経済関係と人的交流が一層活発になることを期待しております。在シカゴ日本総領事館では、ミズーリ州を含め中西部10州を管轄しております。当館にとりまして、最も重要なミッションは、皆様が安全に、そして安心して中西部において生活、活動できるよう、さまざまなサービスを提供することです。もし、セントルイス地域への進出などをご検討されるにあたって、ご質問、不安なこと、お困りなことございましたら、総領事館の方でサポートいたしますので、細かいことでもご遠慮せずに、総領事館までご相談ください。引き続き、日本と中西部の良好な関係構築、そして経済連携強化に向けて尽力してまいりたいというふうに思いますので、どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
田島総領事、ありがとうございました。ご参考まで、もしご存知でしたら、ミズーリ州の在留邦人数、教えていただいてますでしょうか。
はい、これ、毎年10月1日現在で統計を取ってるんですけども、昨年22年の10月1日現在で、2859名、となっております。
ありがとうございます。 改めまして、田島総理ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
それでは、これからメインセッション始めていきたいと思います。まずは、週のイントロダクションご紹介として、デニスさん、ミズーリパートナーシップからデニス・プルットさんよりご講演をいただきます。デニスさんはバイスプレジデントとして、まず日本企業がミズーリ州に対して問い合わせをするときの窓口にも、責任者にもなる方です。それでは、デニスさん、よろしくお願いします。デニスさん、Thank you for joining. So, please begin.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. We are so honored to present an overview of the state of Missouri and the St. Louis region to our friends in Japan. We appreciate our partnership with JETRO and with the Consul General in Chicago and with the Japanese Embassy in Washington, D.C. So it's very exciting for us to speak with you today about the many advantages of doing business in Missouri. My main message that I want to get across to you is that we welcome Japanese investment. Missouri is home to 70 Japanese companies, and we would be honored to increase that number by encouraging you to come visit us in Missouri. I want to give you just a short overview of our state, and I want to stress that we will be available in the future via email or phone calls. If you want to set up an individual meeting with me, I would be happy to join in a call with you or meet you at any upcoming events. Missouri Partnership is a public-private economic development organization. We represent the governor's office when it comes to investment promotion, attracting companies to Missouri. Everything that we do for you is free and confidential. We provide a variety of services to you. We help you find the perfect building or site for your investment. We help you obtain the financial incentives that can be available to you at the state and local level. We use our network to introduce you to university officials and government officials. We will help you with the workforce training programs, and we will conduct basic market research to help you understand the advantages of doing business in our state. Missouri is one of the larger states in the United States. We have an area of almost 180,000 square kilometers, a population of 6 million. So it's a very good sized state in the middle of the country. Here you can see our strategic location, not just in the United States, but in North America. We have great relationships and connections with Canada and Mexico. We're blessed with the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. These are the primary river transport systems in North America. And this allows you to get your raw materials easily to you or to get your finished product throughout the United States. Our state has all of the Class 1 railroad companies, and this is very important for manufacturing companies, again, for the shipping of raw materials. And I would like to note that Missouri is home to the Kansas City Southern Railroad line that now has direct connections into Canada and Mexico, allowing us to have the only North American rail line in North America. It's easy to get to customers. Within a 1-day or a 2-day drive, you can get almost to the entire continental United States. We are consistently ranked as a pro-business state. We have one of the lowest corporate income tax rates. We have aggressive incentives, and Japanese companies do qualify for these incentives. We also have a very qualified workforce. We work with you to develop customized training programs. Our premier program is called Missouri One Start. I'd like to point out also that Missouri is part of the dynamic Midwest, and here you see the cities that have a population of 1 million or more. And I stress this fact because you're coming to not just one state, but you're coming to a dynamic economic region. The Economist had a special report about the Midwest, and they said that if the Midwest was an independent economy, it would be the 4th largest in the world, tied with Germany, and we would have the same population as France or the United Kingdom. And there's a lot of innovation that's taking place in this dynamic Midwest, and Missouri is a core state in this region. This slide always makes me smile because while we have almost half the geographic area of your country, we just have a fraction of the population. And it reminds me, and every time I go to Tokyo, I'm impressed by the density of the population and your ability to get along so well in such a confined area. And so we're really, it's unique to see the difference in the size and the population between our two regions. We have a very vibrant trade with Japan. Our exports to Japan include food, chemicals, computer and electronic products, machinery, and transportation equipment. Japanese imports to Missouri include machinery, fabricated metal products, chemicals, transportation equipment, and primary metals. We're blessed to have 70 Japanese companies in our state, including these on the screen, but Ajinomoto, Hitachi, Hitotsu, Marubeni, Toyota, Panasonic, Kawasaki, Toray. These are just a few of the many examples of Japanese companies that have been successful in our state. We welcome any type of investment, but we're seeing a lot of activity in corporate services. This would include financial services and data centers. We're seeing a lot of activity in distribution centers, again, based on our central location within North America, that strategic location. And that could be either distribution centers or warehouses or cold storage. Manufacturing is the consistent backbone of our economy, whether it's aerospace or automotive or food and beverage companies. And we are a hotspot of R&D, and my colleagues will go into this in a little more detail, but we are known for our animal health companies, our human health companies, and our ag tech research. I thank you for this opportunity to present some information on our state. I encourage you to come visit us. We will look forward to helping you become successful in the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, デニスさん。ありがとうございました。まず続きまして、セントルイス広域経済開発公社からブライアンさん、ブライアン・フェルマンさんよりご挨拶、プレゼンテーションをいただきます。それではブライアンさん、よろしくお願いします。
Thank you, Hashimoto-san, and thank you all for joining us today. This is our arch. It's our symbol here in St. Louis and the epicenter of our region that nearly 3 million people call home across parts of both Missouri.
人が、ミズーリとイリノイ地域に住んでいる人にとっての中心となるその、場所となります。19センチに、アメリカが西に拡張した時のゲートウェイとなった場所であり、当時19世紀にはセントルイスは 4つ目の大きな都市でした。そして1904年には、ワシントン DC からごめんなさい、19世紀にワシントン DC から米国の首都をこちらに移そうという案もあったようなところです。で、いろいろなワールドフェア、オリンピックも含めていろいろなものを開催しております。で、今後の素晴らしい将来に向けて、この歴史的な位置づけに今あると考えています。大きな夢を描いていける大きな機会のある地域だと思っています。まずセントルイスというと皆さんが一番最初に思い浮かぶのがスポーツで有名なというかスポーツが活発な街です。例えばカーディナルズベースボールのチームですけれども、ワールドシリーズタイトルを10回も勝っています。田口壮選手が、2006年の、ワールドシリーズチャンピオンシップの際に大きな貢献をしました。またホッケーですとかサッカー、ゴルフ、オートレース、いろいろなスポーツが、盛んに行われています。で、いろんなイベントがありましたら当然人も集まりますし、騒がしくはなるんですけども、セントルイス地域は喜んでそういったイベントをいろいろサポートしています。で、またセントルイスの有名なのは、ヌートバー選手であり、今回 WBC の侍ジャパンの先発内野手で打者だったヌートバー選手ですね。日本でも大変人気、こちらでも大変人気があります。で、セントルイスポストディスパッチという新聞では、このような記事が出ていまして、ヌートバー選手のおかげで日本で、そのカーディナルズの人気も高まっており、ぜひカーディナルズはいつか東京でプレーしたいと言っています。で、このようにベースボール、 日本とアメリカのその野球に関する関係性が150年記念となっていまして、その中心となるセントルイス、役割をセントルイスが担っています。またスポーツだけでなく、アートやカルチャーも大変盛んであり、また国でも最も美しいアーバンパークの一つであるフォレストパークがこの地域にあります。また動物園も有名で無料で入園できますし、フォックスシアターやオペラ、シンフォニーオーケストラ、美術館、ナショナルブルーズミュージアム、サイエンスセンター、チェスの殿堂等がこちらの地域にはあります。セントルイスは継続的に新しいアトラクションがどんどんできていて、こんなものがあったんだって、ここに住んでいる人たちもびっくりようないろんなものが存在しています。また隠れた名所として、また有名なその、観光地であるミズーリ植物園の中に、日本庭園が14エーカーもの広さで展開しています。清和園と呼ばれるこの日本庭園は、その伝統的な日本の橋ですとか灯籠が、ある、そして4エーカーの、湖がある庭園です。で、また9月の頭に、そのアニュアルジャパニーズフェスティバルがレバーで前後で開かれていまして、最大規模、そして最長の期間の、ジャパンフェスティバルとなっています。ぜひこの日本庭園にお越しいただいて、美しさを楽しんでもらいたいと思います。また食文化も大変盛んであり、アンハイザブッシュの本拠点が、170年前に作られています。で、このビールの醸成所のツアーもすることができ、試飲の方もできます。で、またいろいろ何百ものレストランがこの地域にありまして、有名なレストランがいろんな賞を得ています。例えばイタリアンであればヒルネイバーフードですとか、あるいはハンバーガーでハイポイントドライブインとかテッドドゥーアーでフローズンカスタード、こういったものが大変有名で、食べ物が好きな方もこの地域には喜んでくるということです。また2州にまたがる15郡、このエリアで GDP で187ビリオンドルもに上ります。これを他の小規模の18州を足したものよりも大きいんですね。で、フォーチュン1000のうちの16社がこの地域に本拠点を構えています。例えばセンティーン、エマーソン、ポストホールディング、エナジャイザー、こういった大きな会社がセントルイス地域を拠点としています。また、このメトロエリアには40の大学があります。ワシントンユニバーシティやセントルイスユニバーシティ、どちらも、米国でトップランクの大学機関となっています。セントルイス全体としましては、14万人以上の大学生がこういった大学に修学をしています。次に、イノベーションディストリクトについてお話をしたいと思います。この地図にありますように、物理的に2箇所、そういったディストリクトがあります。コテックスは中心にあって200エーカーの広さでして、39ノースというのが600エーカーの広さで、西の方にあります。これらがある意味、事業の加速役、促進役となっています。スタートアップビジネスが成功するためにこういったところを生かしていくというのが大変大きな鍵となっています。また、セントルイスから直行便が70ものところ、北米地域に飛んでいまして、ドイツのフランクフルトにも週5日で運航しています。この地図にありますように、河川システムですね、大きな川が流れていますし、6つの鉄道路線があります。またノーバスインターナショナルという日本企業もここで多くの教養を抱えています。で、セントルイスは人材確保ということでもベストの場所だと言われています。リンクドインというサービスではベストの場所だと1ということになっています。で、生活費も安いですし、そしてエントリーレベルの人材が豊富にあるところだと言えます。で、いろいろな中西部の学校、地域的にもこの中心にあるということから、近隣の中西部の州からも積極的にリクルートティングができます。で、家を30万ドル以下で購入することができますし、大体月の生活費は1000ドル程度で済みます。サンフランシスコの生活コストよりも 54%、そしてニューヨークより 60% も低いレベルです。また、日本企業にとって、セントルイスを拠点に構える多くの会社があります。ここにリストしてあるのはその主な、大型企業ですけども、例えばナイレックモーターコーポレーションは、電動モーターのメーカーおよび、販売会社であり、あとノーバスインターナショナルは、いろいろな家畜ですとか水産業、 等の栄養食材店と冷凍食品等を提供しています。またトヨタはご存知の通り、この地域に拠点も構えていますし、ゾテクはコスト効率のいいカーボンファイバー、そしてハスマンはパナソニックの子会社に、その食料品店の冷蔵庫等を提供しています。また、貢献は、美容品等を提供しています。ということで、セントルイス製造業ということも大変重要な位置づけであり、その中心を担っています。じゃあ、
We don't just say,
ここに立地をすると決め、拠点を構えたらどうなるでしょう。ありがとうございました。じゃあ、あとお任せしますということで、それでおしまいではなく、もちろんその後もフォローいたします。BRE、これはビジネスリテンション&エクスパンションの訳語なんですけども、ワールドトレンドセンターと協力したこの機関、そうシステムを使いまして、その事業
as a point of
が展開、この地域でさらに反映する、そのサポートをしています。また必要な連絡をその政府機関ですとか、行政の方とつなげることもできます。グレーターセントルイスはこのような、サポートもいたします。で、もちろんこちらの地域に、その企業を構えればいろいろその社員がこの地域に住むわけで、実際、2025年までにそのいろいろな移民の流入が一番大きくなるであろう都市だと思われています。で、13万人以上のその外国人がセントルイス地域には今後住むこと。
information here, and we would be more than happy to help you out. Thank you so very much for your time. Hashimoto-san, back to you.
Brian さん、Thank you very much for your really comprehensive presentation. ありがとうございました。セントルイスは本当伝統的に大きな製造業、金融業の街です。一時金融危機も経て少し人口流出した時期もありましたが、今は若い世代を中心に大きく人口を取り戻しています。なかなか日本からセントルイス見えない方も多いと思うんですけれども、ぜひこの活気を戻している地域に注目いただきたくて、ぜひこのウェビナーを開催しています。このような背景のもと、特定の分野、バイオとジオテックについてこれからお話をいただこうと思います。まずバイオ分野から Vijay さんにご参加をいただいております。Vijay チョウハンさん、グローバルセントルイスのリードとしてバイオ分野をご担当されています。Vijay さん、Thank you for your patience. So please begin your presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Hashimoto-san. Thank you so much for the opportunity for us to meet with your colleagues in Japan and here in the United States. BioSTL has been around for 22 years with the mission of driving St. Louis innovation. We are a nationally recognized bioscience innovation ecosystem. We are in the startups and scale-ups business. We invest and build companies, and we have a magnet for top global innovation. The two main activities of BioSTL are creating and growing St. Louis startups, where we are investing, we are advising, and we have the infrastructure for those companies. And the second is helping recruit global innovators, startups who are looking to enter the US market. When it comes to creating startups, we have now invested in 100 companies and put $40 million into these companies and help those companies raise $2.7 billion. And the majority of that funding has come from some of the top venture capital firms from around the world. What you see on the left-hand side is the BioSTL building. And inside that building are laboratories that we offer our startups, mentoring services, investment. And one of the questions that people had was, where is the innovation coming from? So the innovation can come from university researchers here in St. Louis. They can also come from university researchers around the world. But what is important is to have some St. Louis connection, whether there is another research partner here in St. Louis, along with maybe somebody in Japan, or the CEO of the startup is here and the technology can come from Japan. There are many ways to create that St. Louis connection, but we need a St. Louis connection for us to invest in these companies. But we are very open to ideas of technology that are developed in Japan and are looking to become a startup and enter the US market. The areas that we look at in our startup in innovation and investment arm, which we call the biogenerator, is in these three major categories of therapeutic drugs. So antibody, cellular, and small molecule therapeutics. We have identified the areas of focus. The target and mechanism biomarker is really important for us to understand. And we want to really make sure that we have a homogeneous patient population that is easy to stratify. If those are available to us, then we can invest in companies in this area. Or in the area of diagnostics, liquid biopsy is a very hot area of focus for us. And we have developed companies in that area also, as well as research tools and services. So if you have companies that have innovative tools for drug discovery or research, we would be happy to collaborate on it. So you see examples of some of the companies. You can go on their websites, you can get some more information. And if you have got companies that are like this or technologies that can connect with these kinds of companies, we would love to hear from you. The next initiative that we have is called GlobalSTL. And here we are helping global companies that are interested in entering the US market. So think about a Japanese company. And in this area, we are active in healthcare, and we are also active in agriculture and food. So one of the things that we want to tell you about are some of the major healthcare organizations headquartered in St. Louis. As was discussed before, Washington University is a top 5 medical school in the United States. Their sister hospital system is BJC Healthcare. We have St. Louis University and their School of Medicine, and their partner is SSM Health. We have Centene Corporation, a $141 billion insurance company. We have a pharmacy benefits manager in Evernorth, Cigna. We have the Veterans Administration, and we also have a global reinsurance company. So these are some of the big healthcare companies that are headquartered in St. Louis. And when you compare these companies and the revenues that they have to what is also in some of the other major cities, here is how St. Louis stacks up. So we are a lot bigger than Cleveland, Boston, Nashville, Philadelphia, Chicago. And in fact, we are probably number 1 or number 2 in the United States. And what we are doing is working with all of these major corporations, understanding what they're looking for, and going out into the world and finding the special innovations that are of interest to all our partners on the left-hand side. So the platform on the left-hand side has total revenues of $410 billion. That's 10% of US healthcare spending. And we are organizing them to do business with international companies. And we have been active in 10 countries, and we would love to see Japan on that map. One opportunity for Japanese companies to engage with us is a health innovation summit that we run every year. This will be our 7th Health Innovation Summit. It will be on the 16th of August here with a reception on the 15th. And this is a proven business development platform for global digital health companies who want to do business with one of the largest healthcare innovation buying platforms. These are the solutions areas that our partners are looking to buy. If you have Japanese companies, startups, or even large companies that have solutions in these areas and want to do business with our healthcare organizations, then the summit will be a very good opportunity for them to participate. One area that I do want to highlight, which is a strength of Japan, is the senior healthcare system. Japan has been a pioneer in building solutions for taking care of seniors who are aging in home. and using technology to provide a whole range of solutions and transforming how caregiving can be done. The use of robots to give companionship to human beings is all happening in Japan, and Japan will be a leader for the rest of the world. And so here in the United States, with our aging population, we believe we will learn a lot from understanding and bringing Japanese innovation. That's just one example of areas where we think we can partner with Japanese companies. The way we work is we look at about 1,000 companies each year. We pick the best 33 that are addressing the areas of innovation that I showed you in the earlier slide. We invite just 15 companies, and we are arranging meetings for those 15 companies with all these major healthcare organizations that I talked to you about before. Here is the agenda for the summit on the 16th. And what I want you to take away is the logos of all the organizations on the left-hand side. These are not just St. Louis companies, because the brand of the summit and the platform that we have built has now gotten the attention of some of the biggest companies in the United States, like Walmart, CVS Health, Cigna, Anthem, who are not based here in St. Louis. So if you look at the revenues that are flowing through all of these companies, they are approaching $1 trillion. So we are going to bring $1 trillion of buying power or revenues to the summit on the 16th of August. Just to give you a sense of how successful these international companies have been, over the last 5 years, 75 companies from around the world have come to St. Louis. 41% have secured contracts. 91% have secured additional meetings. They have raised $3.8 billion of capital, but 2.9 out of the 3.8 was after they came to St. Louis. So 75% of all the capital raised has been after they came to St. Louis. And 5 of them have raised more than $1 billion of valuation. So similar to our work in healthcare, we are also very strong in ag and food. We actually have in St. Louis some of the biggest corporations in the food and agriculture business. We have more plant science PhDs in St. Louis than anywhere else in the world. And so for Japanese companies that are very strong in technology and innovation in food and agriculture, St. Louis and Missouri is probably one of the best places for you all to participate. And similar to the healthcare side, we bring all of these people to work with us to identify their pain points, go out into the world and find some of the best innovation. We have $270 billion of revenue that we have assembled on the left-hand side. And again, we would love to see Japanese flag on the right-hand side. These are the areas that our agriculture and food partners are looking for. The left-hand side is agriculture technology. You will note very important is reducing the environmental impact of agriculture. So this whole carbon neutral greenhouse gas emission, reducing the footprint of carbon in agriculture, soil health, these are major areas of focus. Scalable and sustainable alternative proteins and other areas of importance are on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, again, you see the protein, pet foods in the area of healthy aging, muscular weight management and probiotics, digital pet healthcare, and so on. So that is my quick overview of what we have going on here in St. Louis, where we would love to partner with Japanese technologies and companies who are looking to do business. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Vijay さん、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. 次のまさに連携を作るための取り組みで、この Vijay さんから次つながるということがよくわかりました。ありがとうございます。では先にまずアンディさんからプレゼンテーションいただきます。最後にGeospatialセントルイスからアンディ・デアリングさん、GeoFutures のトップとヘッドとして、さまざまジオテックコミュニティの形成に関わっていらっしゃいます。アンディさん、Thank you very much for joining us today. So, yes, please start your presentation.
Good. Thank you, Hashimoto-san, and thank you for the opportunity to present GeoFutures, which is our geospatial initiative here in St. Louis. And it's one of our emerging initiatives that we have and that we are very proud of here in St. Louis. I like to first start out to make sure that when we talk about geospatial, we all have a common understanding of what we're referring to. And that science of geospatial is really the collection and understanding of location information and the application of that to help solve problems, providing situational awareness, or to help solve problems for businesses, governments, or other entities around the world. The reason why St. Louis is key to that is we're not just thinking about how to produce maps and charts and using that information, but what we see with regards to geospatial is that opportunity of a next generation technology. And as we think about that, we think about autonomous systems. And autonomous systems are self-driving cars, vehicles, drones, or lawnmowers. Those are all producing and consuming millions of amounts of geospatial information, collecting that information and using it to make sure that it's driving accurately or flying accurately across the world. So that is one application of that. But also, as we think about technology and the emergence of new technologies, augmented and virtual reality. And that is very much using and consuming location information, whether it be in a simulated environment or whether you're walking down the streets and you see information popping up in front of you that might be location enabled about what's happening in the real world, but having an augmented or virtual world that's happening around you. And especially as we start thinking about the emergence of smart cities. As we think about this, in the emergence and the abundance of sensors that are producing geospatial information and collecting geospatial information, it helps us understand why certain things are happening in areas. And in particular, how do we predict dangers or things that are happening in the world? How do we predict when those situations might occur? And how do we prevent those things or maybe put predictive measures in place to help at least respond to those issues? And so geospatial is key to helping solve and unlock those problems. And all of this that we see is around data and information, and that's collected from satellites, it's collected from on-the-ground sensors, it's collected from our mobile devices, and it's even collected under the earth. And all of that information is location enabled. And to be able to process that and understand and extract value out of that information, it takes big data, AI, machine learning, and really that emergence of technology to help us get information out of that. So why St. Louis, and why are we doubling down on geospatial technologies? Well, we see that the opportunity here in St. Louis is we have over 27,000 jobs related to geospatial technology with about $5 billion of economic impact that the geospatial industry provides St. Louis. A lot of that is coming from, and we will talk about this here in a minute, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. In 2017, they announced that they will be building and opening up their their West headquarters. They have two headquarters, one in Washington, D.C., and one now in St. Louis. And that $2 billion investment will be in North St. Louis, just directly north of downtown St. Louis. We also have 350 businesses and organizations that support the geospatial industry right here in St. Louis. And geospatial applies to many of the aspects of what Dennis, Brian, and Vijay all talked about in their presentations, as it is really a horizontal capability that cuts across many of those vertical industry segments that we pride ourselves in being strong on here in the St. Louis region. The evolution of what GeoFutures is. So GeoFutures is our strategy to become the global leader in geospatial technology. And it's a 20-year roadmap, and one that we launched only 2.5 years ago. The catalyst for this was that decision by the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, which is our Department of Defense agency that handles geospatial information for our warfighters and for our military and for our first responders that are helping support global and national issues. This headquarters was selected in North St. Louis in 2016. Many of the local leaders in the area, many of who did not know what geospatial was until that time, saw that this is a significant opportunity. And many leaders huddled around this to adopt that and to align on what that vision can be for geospatial in St. Louis and how to connect all of the other industry partners into there. Many of the work that we have done and those numbers that you saw in the previous slide were conducted in a baseline study in 2019. And that really solidified St. Louis as initially a great foundational and leader in geospatial nationally and internationally, but provided a clear pathway of what we needed to grow and invest in to be a global leader in geospatial. So we released the GeoFutures roadmap in 2020. This roadmap is again a 20-year roadmap of how we become a global leader. This is very similar to what we did over 20 years ago and what you saw Vijay present around where we are today as a leader in plant and health sciences here in St. Louis. Many of those priorities in order to be that leader are around a scaling up of our talent, scaling up of our innovation and entrepreneurship, really focusing in on branding and marketing. What is geospatial and why St. Louis is a geospatial leader? And most importantly, how do we make sure that we're doing that inclusively and creating and growing that community here in St. Louis? The sectors that we feel the most strength in, that we have key strength within St. Louis, is national security, digital and precision agriculture, transportation and logistics, and healthcare delivery. And geospatial is a key technology in all four of those areas, and we're looking to continue to grow that in those segments. The global leader of geospatial technology is a company called ESRI, and their founder and president had this to say about St. Louis. They're setting up their Midwest headquarters here, where they have over 100 technicians, support staff, and developers right here, not only supporting their regional initiatives and regional customers, but being a leader around national security and agriculture and how geospatial can help solve those problems. They're, again, one of the leading global software companies in geospatial, and we have them right here in St. Louis. And their CEO and their founder was very much aware and is investing in it because of the alignment of our local leaders, our state leaders, and all of our industry partners that are here. The St. Louis, since launching this report, have had over 100 efforts, or we call them headlines, of successes of organizations contributing to the recommendations and the successes of GeoFutures. From NGA, or the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, setting up a first of its kind innovation center, to our local universities setting up workforce development and entrepreneurship programs directly with those and helping the future workforce and grow the future workforce here in St. Louis, to having accelerators directly with our state partners and national partners focused in on accelerating geospatial innovation here in the region. And these are just a few of the many headlines and the many success stories that we've had in only 2+ years here in St. Louis. In only being a year old, one of the recommendations was to continue to grow our innovation capacity here in St. Louis. And one of the significant established institutions that was just, again, launched a year ago was the Taylor Geospatial Institute, a monumental gift by Andy Taylor, who in the Taylor family, who is the chairman of Enterprise Holdings, one of our largest companies here. This donation and this effort was aligning 7 universities in the region and the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center in really focusing and growing and scaling our innovation here and our research capacity here to hopefully spin out new innovations, intellectual property, and most importantly, companies that will grow here and stay here in the St. Louis region. Geospatial intersects with many of these industry segments, and these logos that you see here are logos that you see as in Vijay's slides as well. And we see, again, geospatial technology solving key and instrumental problems in each of these segment industries. And you see how many jobs that we have here in the region that are tied to these important sectors and where we're thriving as leaders in these segments. Again, geospatial is a catalyst. It's a relatively newer technology and something that we're very bullish in the growth of our sector here in St. Louis. And lastly, I'll end with this. Maxar, which is a global leader in satellite imaging, has invested significantly in St. Louis, where they create their global 3D globe out of the St. Louis offices. They have engaged and they have come here not only for what we're doing around national security and the other segments, but for the talent that we're creating here and we're building here. And they cannot find that anywhere else across the United States. So we're seeing more of these publicly traded large companies that are coming and staying here in St. Louis and wanting to engage and innovate along with us. As always, there's my email address if you have any questions. And we have many of public media outlets about what is going on in St. Louis and what is going on in geospatial. Thank you.
アンディさん、ありがとうございました。まさに急成長しているこのジオテックコミュニティについてご説明をいただきました。それではこれから Q&A のセッションに参りたいと思います。ご質問がある方はぜひコントロールパネルの質問欄からご質問を入力ください。日本語でも英語でも問題ございません。いくつか登録時にいただいている質問がありますので、私から Vijay さんとアンディさんに一つずつ質問をしたいと思います。So, Vijay さん、I have a question. So, you explain Bio St. Louis and Global St. Louis. So for bio generator, so that initiatives, you said it is needed to a St. Louis connection. So the question is like, if Japanese companies set up an office or lab there, they can get the access to these assets.
Yes, and it depends on what stage of the company it is. If it is at that early stage where we can invest and build a company or take that Japanese company to the next level as an investor, yes.
Thank you. So, and my just question, clarification is the Global St. Louis Healthcare Summit. That's really open for everyone. They don't have to set up the business in St. Louis, but they can join.
That's correct. And if anybody is interested, Hashimoto-san, they can contact you and I can work with you on how we can have them attend and get the best value from it.
Thank you. Yes, the key is to meet you in person. So I'm happy to coordinate. Thank you.
Yes.
Let me explain that. 本日のアンケートで、そのアンケートの最後に、今回のスピーカーの皆様との面談のご希望について聞いている欄があります。もし実際のご出張でもいいですし、デジタルでも個別に面談をされたい方はそちらの希望欄にご記入をいただければと思います。Thank you. ご質問内容ですが、アンディさんにも一つ質問をしたいと思います。アンディさん。So, what is your role or regional economic development corporation's role to grow geotech community? Or do you have any events that audience can join? So that's a question.
Yes, great question. So my role is I am the lead for the GeoFutures initiative, which is out of Greater St. Louis, Inc., out of Brian Son's organization. And we do have many ways to engage and plug in. One of the large events that we're hosting or playing host to here in St. Louis is the GeoInt Symposium, which is being held the 22nd through the 24th of May. And that's a national conference that's held annually where we will welcome over 5,000 leaders in geospatial and geospatial intelligence technologies and companies and government organizations. And we also have other conferences, whether it regards to agriculture or we have other logistics conferences where geospatial is part of the theme of the conference. But that's our big one that we will be hosting this year in just only a few short weeks.
Thank you. And if the audience, Japanese companies visit you, can you meet them privately?
Yes, and we are we're very open to having meetings there. We will have a booth on the floor where you can learn more about, see the St. Louis organizations, meet the Taylor Geospatial Institute, and we can actually introduce you to other organizations like Maxar or ESRI if you so choose. So just feel free to reach out to myself or Brian-san, and we're more than happy to get you plugged into those to the conference.
Thank you. イベント情報については整理をして皆様にフォローアップ E メールで改めてお知らせをしたいと思います。Thank you, Andy さん。一つ今質問をいただきました。I think it's to Andy さん。ジオスペースの中で感染症に関する関心はありますか？ Andy さん、the question is, do you have any specific kind of a focused area? This question about the focused area, some bio-related? Maybe this question is from a bio company. So, are you interested in bio, or do you have any comments on this?
Yes. So in some aspects, geospatial and where it intersects biotechnologies, we saw, I guess, first aspect is as we think about health and health delivery or health and analyzing why certain things happen environmentally or situationally in certain areas. Geospatial is kind of a key technology there. So we think about bio intersecting that. But we also think about it this way. When we think about innovation and technologies, when you think about radiology and AI or machine learning that's being applied to detect, something that might be happening in imaging of our bodies, that same technology or innovations are similar to taking imaging off of satellites and using AI machine learning techniques. So we've seen many companies that have machine learning models that do machine learning on imagery, and they've been able to work across national security and health and grow and innovate here in St. Louis. So that's one application as we think about that. And equally, when you think about bio from the ag side of things, when you do phenotyping or other things like that and doing that level of imaging analysis, very similar use case. So those are just a couple of use cases where we see those things intersecting here, really around innovation and access to customers as well.
Thank you, Andy さん。ありがとうございました。はい。それでは、もし質問などあれば、アンケートでも記入をいただけます。So, I think it's now we've finished the webinar. So 皆様、本日は改めてセントルイス地域の特にバイオとジオテックに関するウェビナーご参加をいただきましてありがとうございます。これからもJETRO、実際のこの連携の担当者、チャンピオン、各地でコネクションを持っている皆様とのご紹介を通じてビジネスのご支援できればと思っておりますので、ぜひお気軽にお問い合わせください。本日は最後にぜひセントルイスの雰囲気を味わってから終わりにしたく、最後にこのセントルイスの紹介ビデオを流して終わりたいと思います。So, Andy さん、would you like to play? Share the...
Are you talking to me? Me and Brian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Videos? それでは、ありがとうございます。